Alright, look, I'm not going to waste your time describing the Potter world. It's a billion-dollar franchise, and let's be honest, I don't think there's anyone who doesn't know what Harry Potter is, and especially not someone who's clicking on a video with this title and this thumbnail. But what I can do is tell you the relationship I have with HP. I was raised in London, which means I was fully engrossed into the magic of the Wizarding world. Harry Potter is a staple of British culture, as much as Sherlock Holmes and Doctor Who. I would probably say more so. I have read the books more times than I can count. To be fair, I can't count that high, but I'm not here to be judged for my math skills. I'm here to be judged on my Harry Potter knowledge. So as I was saying, watched the movies, played the games. I even have the collector's edition of the chess set from Philosopher's Stone. But as my frontal lobe developed and I started looking at things a bit more critically, I noticed something that just changed things for me. The Wizarding world, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? And poor world building really bothers me. So since I came to this realization, me and the Potter world are now beefing. We are beefing. It is a one-sided beef, I will be honest about that.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
I seriously doubt that billionaire J.K. Rowling cares what I have to say, but, well, this is my YouTube video, so I'm going to say it anyway. If I could briefly compare the Wizarding world to Dune, my man Frank took into consideration every aspect of how the world needs to reflect the plot, why they can't just invade en masse, why they don't use guns, why there's a lack of computers, etc. Honestly, it's kind of a masterclass in world building. And unfortunately, while the Potter world is iconic, it's also filled with more plot holes than Swiss cheese. So I'm just going to go over some today. Just to be clear, while I might mention the games and the spin-off, in terms of world building, I'm only going to be keeping to the original series. Obviously, I'm not going to be covering everything. If I was to go over all the gripes that I have with the Potter world, this video would be like 7 hours long. And let's be honest, I'm not at Mauler's level yet.
Nani?
So in the comments section, just, let me know if you want me to do a part 2, but finish this video first, obviously. So what inspired this video in the first place, and kind of what sent me down a rabbit hole of realizing all the other plot holes, is the economics of the Wizarding world. It doesn't make any sense. So firstly, all wizards finish their education at primary school level, which means normally, you go from primary school to high school. They don't do that. They go straight to Hogwarts to learn magic, Wizarding world stuff. And you might be thinking, oh, but I bet they do maths and English and science, but they just don't show us it because we only care about the magic. And you know what? You're actually wrong, because I had the 5th book. I had all the books, but the 5th book came with the school schedule. And guess what wasn't on there? There was no muggle education. It was all charms, transfigurations, and potions. Okay? So let's say you're an 11-year-old boy and you dream of being a marine biologist. Nope, not happening. Maybe if you want to hunt krakens or deal with carnivorous mermaids, sure. Pilot, nope, get on a broom. Astronaut, no chance, mate. Do you know why?
You're a wizard, Harry.
Hell, even things outside of school. If you wanted to be a ballerina, there ain't no after-school activities in Hogwarts, and you're in a castle in Scotland in the middle of nowhere. It's not like you can pop over for a quick lesson. You're basically forced to be a wizard. And you might be saying, you know what, that's actually a great exchange. Sure, I might give up on a day-to-day job, I might give up on ballet or something, but in exchange I learn magic. And magic is amazing, and I can use magic to get a magic job. To that, I literally ask, what magic job? There's literally 7 magic jobs in the whole universe, which is author, shopkeeper, aura, magic beast handler. I hope you like hanging out with dragons. You can work for the government. You can be a trust fund baby, but you didn't get a lot of control about that. It's more when you were born. I guess you could be a bus driver for the night bus. But seriously, if you do think I'm missing any, comment below, what jobs you think I'm actually missing, because magic beasts are also a problem, because they do a lot of the work. I mean, you can't be a banker because they're all goblins. On top of that, there are problems like magic items that steal your job, like the sorting hat, or, ghosts, the book talks about a ghost teaching history. And, sad to say, a lot of them have house elves, which is free labor. No rich people's hiring a personal assistant when they can have free labor. I'm not condoning it, but I'm just saying they're not hiring. And if you do own a business or become a shopkeeper, how do you stay profitable? People are going to buy 1 beer and then use the refill spell. So what, you're going to sell 1 beer per customer? That's no way to run a profitable business. And I know what you might be saying, I bet they have a spell to prevent you from refilling the cups. Go to Camden, go to Shoreditch, go to any muggle place that doesn't have the spell. Hell, apparate to Barley and do some shots there. I'm sorry, I'm not going to a wizard pub when I can basically drink for free somewhere else. I am not that loyal. And now obviously I'm missing a very iconic role in Harry Potter, which is a teacher. Being a teacher is a very noble profession, they have my respect. But there are like 5 schools in Harry Potter. Even if on the higher end we want to go with like Hogwarts Legacy and say there are 7 schools, right? From what we've seen, there's about 13 teachers per school. So maybe on the higher end, there's like 200 teaching jobs. And they live till like old, man. Like Dumbledore's been teaching since World War II at least. And I mean, they don't retire. We haven't seen anyone retire. And they live forever, which is already a problem in a world where magic beasts take your jobs and there's not that many jobs to go around. Like just imagine, okay? You're a young lad. You just finished Hogwarts, you did your owls. I mean, you didn't do legendary, you didn't kill a dark wizard and you're not a once in a generation prodigy, but like, you did well. And they're like, you know what, here's your certificate. Welcome to the real world. And do you know what happens there? They tell you to fuck off and be unemployed. There ain't no jobs for you. You can't do a muggle job. There's no owl to GCSE exchange. And there's no wizarding jobs because you ain't beating an old man with 60 years worth of experience under his belt. Why would they hire you? And if I'm being honest, this all leads to my next point, which is, why do wizards need money? Honestly, why could they possibly need money? I understand why we need money, because we exchange money for goods and services, but wizards do all the services themselves. There's refill spells, there's repair spells, there's transfiguration spells. It's not like you're doing sewing where you have to master something, it's literally 2 words in Latin and you're sorted. Okay, maybe there's like some rare items like a wand and a broom and a high maintenance screaming monster book. I don't know who thought that was a great idea. But like, apart from very few items, you're basically living cost-free, okay? The cost of living crisis is not hitting you. We've seen Harry use the refill spell on a cup with alcohol. And we've seen it used at Weasley's wedding, right? It's not like a rare spell. And don't tell me it was a special cup. It wasn't. It was a regular cup with alcohol. I'm pretty sure it was wine. So all I'm saying is you buy 1 bottle of Coke and you're set for life, okay? You buy a bottle of rum, a carton of milk, a bottle of water, and you just keep refilling that until you lose the cup, which, let's be honest, plastic lasts longer than you will. I'm sure there's probably also a spell for cereal, right? Which moves on very nicely to my next point. How are the Weasleys poor? I remember seeing a meme online about vampires, and the tweet said that you never see poor vampires, and someone responded saying like, if you're still poor after 200 years, then just step into the sun. And the Weasleys are given the same energy. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, not having as much money as some people. The reason why the Weasleys and the vampires are in the same boat is because they have privilege, okay? They have special skills and abilities that could easily make them money that they're not utilizing, which means they kind of deserve to be poor, I'm sorry. Like, don't get me wrong, if the Weasleys were minimalists or Amish, or they thought there was some kind of morality in poverty, I'd understand, but they don't. They're constantly complaining about not having enough money, and, it's obviously a big stress for them, and Arthur wants more money, but like, how? And why? Like I said, you basically live for free. So don't tell me it's because they have a lot of kids. It doesn't matter when you have the refill spell. And people make fun of Ron for having secondhand clothes, but why? If you have the repair spell, Reparo, all secondhand clothes are basically new. And if you're telling me it's about size, why? There is literally a spell that lets you change the size of the thing. It's called Engorgement, and it was used by Harry on a giant spider. You can change the size of something, you can make it like new, which means secondhand doesn't make a difference. I'm starting to think that Ron's family just generally hate him, and they don't want him to have nice things. I'm standing on business with that. But I think the most important fact about all that is, you can literally convert gallons, which is Harry Potter money, to GBP, pound sterling, which means start a business. You don't need to stay in the wizarding world to make money. From the top of my head, here are some businesses that you could start as a wizard in the Muggle world. Dental repair. Hermione fixes her teeth in a way that she claims that even her dentist parents would struggle with. You might be like, oh, but you need a medical degree. Sure, partner with a real dentist. Literally walk up to him and be like, yo, mate, You get the clients, you be the face, you hire me as an assistant, we put them under anesthetics. I perfectly fix their teeth using magic. Something that would take you hours takes me minutes, which means more clients, we share the profit, we make bank, let's do it. And he'll be like, bet. But then you might be like, okay, you can't tell muggles about magic. Fine. Open a bar. Some of the most expensive parts about owning a bar is the stock. Again, the refill spell solves that problem. Bottle of vodka, bottle of Jack Daniels, maybe a bottle of tequila, and keep refilling those suckers. You can't do it in front of the muggles, obviously, but you go into the back room, use the refill spell, they'll just assume that you brought in a new bottle. Oh look, that drunk guy just broke my chair. Reparo. Maybe you have to hire some staff, like a security guard and some bartenders, but let's be honest, the profit margin would be insane. Another one, fast food restaurant. Hermione was shown that she can make copier food. And also we've shown that you can engorgement food, which means that solves your problem with stock. You can make the chicken bigger and then clone it. And yeah, I know that they mentioned that like the nutritional value doesn't increase. It's the same nutritional value, it just gets spread out against a larger quantity. And to that I say, so what? Have you been to fast food restaurants? Nutrition isn't exactly high on their priority list. I'm pretty sure there's more nutritional value in a single kidney bean than there is an entire fast food meal, burger and chips. If anything, it'll kind of work on your side because it'll probably be less calories, so people will keep coming back and they won't be getting bigger. All I'm saying is duplicate, engorge, deep fry, profit, refill drinks, refill sauces. All you gotta pay is rent. Okay, let's say these ideas, they require startup capital because you need to rent. Fine. Transportation business. Use Hermione's TARDIS bag spell, the same one that they use in Fantastic Beasts. And you're like, oh, I know that you're moving from New York to Toronto. Let me move your stuff for you. You put all the stuff in the bag. You can use the spell to make it levitate and go into the bag. You then apparate to where you need to go. You hang around for a couple hours so no one's suspicious. You get your tan on, and then you give the guy his stuff. You just made a lot of money because people pay good money for those kind of services, and your costs are zero. Maybe some advertising costs. Okay, last one, because I know I'm getting hung up on this idea. Start a jewelry store. All right, any vegans listening to this, you're not gonna love the next part. I'm gonna be frank with you. But for any non-vegans, I hope you understand where I'm coming from with this idea. But we've seen that you can transfigure rat into goblets. Now, I'm not sure if the Weasleys know this, but they live on a farm. So many rats on the farm. You open an Etsy store. You take orders in. Every time someone orders one, you find the nearest rat, you turn it into a goblet, and you send it off. So you take any of the business ideas that I've now presented. You take the GBP, the pound sterling, and you convert to gallons. And then you can live in luxury, like your orphan best friend. You guys can have all the money, no drip, together. Seriously, what was Harry wearing in some of these movies? Absolutely terrible. All I'm saying is the Weasleys have no grind mindset. I'm going to move on to the next segment now because I feel like people are going to start accusing me of elitism and I do not have the bank account to support these ideas. All right, in this segment, I'd like to call... Now, I know what you're probably thinking. All governments are corrupt. At least most of them are. But no. The Ministry of Magic is straight up a fascist regime. And you know it's bad when you call a government a regime. That's the trigger word. And to prove this, I will just point out one thing. They send people to prison with no trials. Hagrid is a suspect in Chamber of Secrets. They don't have proof of it. They just suspect him of doing something, right? Some evidence, not strong. What do they do before his trial? Oh, they don't keep him on house arrest. They don't, send him to like a nice cell. No, they send him to Azkaban. They're like, no. We think you did something, so you're gonna go hang out with some soul-sucking ghosts in their emo phase. It ain't the one, all right? Umbridge, we know she did terrible things. The story is told from Harry's perspective. Do we ever see the court case? We do not, which means she basically was sent to Azkaban without any trial either. I'm not saying I agree with what she did. She did terrible things, but I'm just saying it's a bad precedent. And the thing is, I think it's because they don't have any lawyers. That's what happens when you stop education at a primary school level. There are no lawyers. Also, they have memory spells and the brainwashing evil curse. I'm not saying that they should use it, but I'm just saying there are so many ways to prove if someone did a crime. They should never falsely accuse anyone. They just don't care. They just go for the easiest solution, which is send you to jail. The only trial that we see is Igor Krakarov, and that's not even really a trial. Okay, it's a court case about an early release. The man is snitching. This man is literally snitching on some of the most evil, powerful, influential wizards in the world, potentially of all time. And the government look at him and go, do you know what this man needs? An audience. That is some Black Mirror fascism stuff, okay? They're literally like, I wonder what we could do this Saturday night. I know, let's gather the crew, let's gather all my friends and watch a man in a cage betray his friends and watch humanity at its lowest. They're treating it the same way I would treat taking a girl on a date to see a musical. I go see Wicked, they go see Testimonial of a Death Eater. And you know it's messed up because one of the men he was snitching on was in the room. Why in the holy nepotism is this man here? Why are you here? The opposite side of this point is that once Igor was released, he became a head teacher of his school. Like, I believe in the rehabilitation of prisoners and whatnot, but it's not like he was doing white-collar scams. He was murdering people and God knows what else. And you're putting this man in charge of children. Like, is there not a parole officer that should be checking in on this man? This very naturally leads on to my next point, which is that in the Harry Potter world, there should never be repeat offenders due to a simple spell called the Unbreakable Vow. Now, for those who don't remember, the Unbreakable Vow is the spell that Snape does at the beginning of the 6th book where he promises his Malfoy's mum that he's going to help him with the mission. And if he fails to complete this mission, he will unfortunately pass on. So for those who watch anime, it's basically the Judgment Chain from Hunter x Hunter. Shout out to my favorite anime of all time. But the basic idea is you need to do what you're told, otherwise you pass on. So what I would do is anytime a prisoner is leaving Azkaban, you go all Moses on their ass. You give them 10 commandments. I will not kill. I will not be an evil wizard. I will not use any of the forbidden curses. Whatever. And that way, if they do try and use any of these, they will also pass on. I'm just saying, Voldemort, when he came back, he very quickly recruited his people back. I know they only did it because they were scared for their families and whatnot, but if there was an Unbreakable Vow, they couldn't have joined at all, and Voldemort would have been basically alone. Maybe he would have had one rat boy because technically no one knew that Peter was alive. And you might be saying, well, you were just complaining about them being fascists, and now you're complaining that there should actually be more restrictions. All I'm saying is, as a prisoner, if I had a choice between leaving prison with a promise that I won't do anything bad versus hanging out with a bunch of ghosts in their emo era, I am choosing the Unbreakable Vow. I don't exactly know what the soul does, but I'm not about to feed these guys. The absolute lack of safety measures in Hogwarts. I know I'm not unique in talking about this. Everyone's been making fun of this joke since the first book. But like, I know they locked the door, but you're telling me they couldn't have a buffer between, you know, all your students and a 3-headed monster that'll rip them to shreds? Not like a little side door that's like, yo, you've made a mistake, go back if you don't want to die. No, just one warning.
What?
Mate, I have ADHD. I have no idea where I am so often. I will be dog food within a week. All I'm suggesting is maybe you get rid of the room with the plants that a spell that you learn in 2nd year can get rid of, and you just add a room that has a giant sign that just says, get out, wrong room, death ahead. But no, there's about half a foot of a wooden, fragile door between a monster from Greek mythology and the general student population. I have also come to realize that despite not belonging in prison, Hagrid should 100% be fired. Should I remind you that he sent a muggle child for life-changing surgery because he ate a bit of cake? Like, yes, the kid was a bit of a brat, but Hagrid did take it too far. Also, I can promise you that the Dark Forest is 100% his fault. I bet you before he worked there, it wasn't even called the Dark Forest. It was just called the Forest, where students went for picnics and walks, just enjoying a bit of nature. But no, Hagrid comes along and creates a monster breeding ground, and now only giants can enter it. Like, seriously, let's count all the things that are actually a danger in the Dark Forest, not including the games where they have to add extra challenges for the players. Centaurs. Yes, we've seen them be quite dangerous, but assuming you're not a two-faced baldy or a terrible person in pink, they're not that big of a problem. Don't be racist to them, leave them alone and they'll leave you alone. Werewolves. only a problem in 3rd year when Lupin was hired, and only really a problem on the full moon. The Whipping Willow. Just maybe don't drive your car into a tree that could beat you. The only thing that we can consider a consistent danger in the Forbidden Forest are the giant spiders that Hagrid introduced. Not only did he bring Aragog, which was already messed up, I know he's a teenager, but still, he also brought him a wife. He brought the man a mate and then was surprised to see what happened. I genuinely believe that if Voldemort hadn't attacked Hogwarts when he did, there would have been a spider invasion within 5 years. And I'm right about this, because the spiders did join Voldemort. Hagrid unintentionally gave Voldemort soldiers. Now, obviously, I hate to make this point, because Hagrid is a beloved character. I also love Hagrid. He is a big teddy bear of a man, super adorable, heart of gold. That being said, send him to Siberia, let him go hunt frost dragons. Hell, send him to Egypt and let him pet a sphinx. But just keep him away from the children, please.
The man has genuinely almost killed Harry more times than Voldemort.
He sent him on what was basically a Pegasus with a beak that had an attitude, flying across the sky with no protection, no seatbelt, and no knowledge about where the animal was going. Now, I've done horse riding lessons. I've only done like 2 or 3, but during that time, they held a very strong grip on the horse because they knew I did not know what I was doing. The horse could run off, take me with it, and God knows where I'd end up. That was 2-dimensional. This thing is flying. Okay, enough about school safety. Let's move on to the next chapter I like to call which means these are spells or abilities that defy reality, that just make you too overpowered. And I think everyone knows which one I'm going to start with. It's the most obvious one, and it's time turners. Time turners are broken as hell. You're telling me that there is a necklace that lets me time travel. I can literally go back in time when something doesn't suit me. I am never losing a fight because every time I'm getting whooped, I'm going to pull a Barry Allen and go back in time and try again. And don't tell me it's a rare magic item. It's not. They gave it to a 12-year-old girl so she could take more classes. I don't care how smart or talented or much of a prodigy you are. If there's only like 7 things in the world, the Ministry of Magic is not giving you one of them. They don't know you. You're just a random girl with a note from her teacher. But that's the easy one and the obvious one. As soon as you saw the name of this chapter, you knew it was coming. I think there's another one which is just as broken that I feel like people actually don't discuss, and it's a little potion called Felix Felicis. For those who don't know what I'm talking about,
He won it as a prize when he was doing the potions class, and it gave him the ability to basically turn into Domino from Deadpool. And let's be honest, we've seen how we've seen how overpowered that girl is. She'd be walking through the dark forest on a stroll and not see a single thing. Even if you want to go back earlier to my point about money, take some Felix, buy some Bitcoin, watch it go up, everyone makes bank. I suppose the people who didn't buy Bitcoin won't make bank. But most importantly, I would take this before every single battle.
you're gonna fight me. Before you can finish saying Ava, a bird is gonna come and hit you in the face. I win. The battles aside, the life improvement applications of this are insane. We don't know how rare it is. If it wasn't rare, I would take it every single day like an NZT pill. Play life on easy mode. Hell, we don't even know what the limitations are. What if Harry took the potion and wanted Dumbledore's job? Would he then have an unfortunate drop down the stairs so the position opens up? And don't tell me it's rare. It was a prize for a school's potion class. Not even a test, just a class. If it is rare, just drink it and make it your intention to make more. Look at that, I luckily stumbled upon a lifetime supply. The next one I think is the most broken yet under-discussed show of power.
Voldemort cursed a job. The man did not get a job as a teacher and was like, nah mate, if I ain't getting this job, no one's getting this job. I'm job hunting right now. It's hard out in these streets trying to get a job. But cursing a whole ass job? I understand that he's one of the most powerful wizards of all time. I understand that. It's not like everyone could do this. But like, this makes him a god level threat.
What if he then decides to curse the Ministry of Magic job? What happens then? Who knows?
Also, he cursed it so that anyone who says his name, they can find like a GPS. All I'm saying is maybe the government should hire Dumbledore, who's on his level, to do it so that if anyone ever uses any of the forbidden spells, they get an alert and their people teleport to them. It's literally an insane ability. God level threat.
And what confuses me,
People in the Potter world were more impressed that he could fly without a broom than the fact that he created a curse that lasted 50 years on a job. Their priorities are in the wrong place.
alright, up until now, I feel like I've been talking about things that are literally world breaking. Okay, really big problems that genuinely affect the world. Starting from here on, I'm just going to be a bit of a hater. I'm going to be honest. You might have thought I was being a bit of a hater before, but like at least I was talking about important stuff. Now I just want to talk about stuff that isn't world breaking, but itches the part of my brain that needs answers.
For example, why are there so many different ways of teleporting in Harry Potter?
Flue powder, why? You can apparate, why would you do that and get covered in soot at the same time? Especially the Weasleys who constantly complain about being poor, but then spend money on a teleportation magic.
Even though they can teleport for free.
You can apparate with other people, like it might require a few trips, but it does feel like a waste of money. And more importantly, like, what if you have an accent?
I mean, this isn't Siri, this isn't some minor inconvenience. I mean, how many times have you been misunderstood by Alexa?
Harry went to the wrong place by saying the wrong thing. What if you're Scottish? What if you're Indian? God knows where you're going to come out, and if you can't apparate, then you're stuck there. The port key I can kind of justify because, like, if you don't know the destination, it makes sense to have something that takes you to that destination, like the Quidditch World Cup. They want to keep certain locations a secret so everyone doesn't just apparate in. Speaking about Quidditch, there is a section later where I go over the positives of Harry Potter World. Because it's not all bad, there are a lot of positives. But I'm going to add it here because I think it's relevant. I think we're all so used to the idea of Quidditch that we've forgotten how, like, actually genius it is. J.K. Rowling took the concept of witches on brooms, a classic stereotype, and turned it into a sport. That is incredibly impressive. She then proceeded to ruin it by making the whole game completely pointless apart from the Seekers. We have only ever seen one game not ended in victory by the Seeker, and it was the World Cup. The snitch is 150 points, okay? 10 points per goal, which means 15 points. Do you know how terrible your team has to be 150 points down? Imagine in football, your team is winning 14-0. You're celebrating, and suddenly they lose because the tiniest man on their team caught the mascot dog. How annoying would that be? Do you know what it is? It gives me the same energy of when you were in school and the other team has been losing the whole day, and then they just throw the ball down, go, next goal wins. Like, yeah, you might score the next goal, but like, is that satisfying? Who cares? You lost, all right? Team strategy, take out the Seeker. As soon as the game starts, take out the Seekers. Practically a guaranteed win. Even if you're a couple goals behind, if you've only got one Seeker, you're golden. And this also goes back to my point of school safety. Me as a grown-ass man, I need a license to drive a motorcycle, which is two-dimensional. But these kids be getting on Bullet Bill and flying around with no protection. Yeah, they've got healing magic. We've seen them repair broken bones and stuff, but like, I don't think you'd get a chance to heal when a bowling ball going 19 miles an hour hits you and you fall like 12 feet on the ground. Like, what are they healing? Your misshapen corpse? It's not a resurrection spell, it's a healing spell, but you instant death, I think. And also, how is there a monopoly on sports in Quidditch? There's no dueling games, there's no transfiguration games where who can make the most beautiful card. Hell, I mean, I'd like to play Yu-Gi-Oh! In the Harry Potter world. They've got chess pieces that come to life. Imagine Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you could summon monsters. Like the anime, that would be bloody sick. But no, just Quidditch. Next point. Owls are stupid. Don't get me wrong, super cute animals. And Hedwig is the OG familiar. Not hating on the man. But you're telling me in a world with phones, fireplace calls, teleportation magics, I'm gonna whip out a Quirrell and write on a piece of paper that goes to a bird to send it out. I am not keeping a pet to send a text. You can't send texts or apparate in Hogwarts. I understand that. And to that point, I say, so what? It's one building, one school in the entire world, and you're gonna let it dictate your whole culture? I don't think so. Like, when have we ever seen this be a problem anywhere else? Even the Ministry of Magic is underneath the center of London. And unless London is somehow in a medieval time and everyone's wondering what the hell's going on, they obviously have technology there. So I'm just saying, instead of writing out a letter that probably takes a while, I'll just pop in front of my bro's doorstep, ring the doorbell, be like, hey man, I know we're meeting tomorrow. What time? And he'd be like, 7. I'll be like, bet, see you then, and then teleport straight back to bed. I ain't writing no letter. Next. Hogwarts' grading system is extremely unfair. Like, this isn't world breaking, but this is very unfair. You're telling me one exam, one day, determines your entire future. There's no implication that you can retake. When I was in school, at uni and at college, we had coursework, we had exams. It happened over like a course of a couple of months. And if you did badly, you get a chance to retake. But we've seen the owls take place in one day. Like, so what if you broke a wand that day? You had a bad lesson with Hagrid and a flaming moth mole accidentally snapped your wand. What if you're feeling sick? You aren't feeling 100%, you got a bit of a stomach issue. Sorry, mate, unemployment lot for you. We only take the legendaries. Enjoy. Next point is, why are the pipes in Harry Potter so massive? Have you seen the size of a basilisk? It's 50 foot long. It's the equivalent of sort of two children laying down next to each other, right? Have you seen the pipes at your house? They are no thicker than your arm. Don't get me wrong, I've seen the feast they have at Hogwarts, so I'm sure their bathrooms are working overtime. But still, one word, excessive. And you might be like, oh, Slytherin planned it the whole time. To that I say, and none of the other ones looked at the blueprints. Like, you're telling me none of them are like, yo, Salazar, quick word please. Do you mind real quickly explain to me why we're losing 30% of our infrastructure space to pipes large enough for a gigantic snake? We might need to fire our architect. Also, what is this blacked out area at the bottom? Did you add another room in the underground? Why are you putting your students in the dungeons and now further underground there's a blacked out area? Are you okay? You understand that children need sunlight? You're being a bit sus, mate. Next point. In the Potter world, wands are weaker than guns. And I'm not talking about like the really creative magic or like in terms of life usefulness. I'm talking about fighting, all right? Like Voldemort and Dumbledore, yeah, they're like throwing glass shards at each other and creating water snakes, but like most of the wizards we've seen shoot spells. Balls of light that are slower than bullets and seem to be very dodgeable. Expelliarmus, Harry's favorite spell, I could beat that with a Nintendo Wii strap on my wand. Go on, send it flying. It's back. There we go. I did what Voldemort couldn't. I figured out a way to beat Harry Potter. Now, all I'm saying is, we've seen that spells are like physical things, right? When you shoot a spell and it hits an object, it doesn't go through the object to hit your target, it hits the target. That's why when you hide behind something like a block of cement, it's gonna hit the block of cement. In that case, I am going into every single magic battle with a SWAT riot shield. Like, yeah, the spell might send me flying away because it's kind of explosive when it hits something, but like, I'm alive. But I'm getting in a tank. Avada Kedavra, me out of this tank, mate. Good luck. Ain't happening. Or, snipe him. Hire a sniper from 50 feet away. They're still people. It's easy. Next point. There should be way more curses that are forbidden. I understand that the 3 forbidden curses are evil as hell, but there are so many other curses. For example, you're telling me that a spell that creates a giant flaming snake is not forbidden? Do I look like a dungeon hunter to you? I am not fighting that thing. And what justification can you possibly say that you're using it not for murder? Oh, no, this isn't a murder spell. This is my gardening snake spell of eternal fire. It helps me burn the autumn leaves and gets rid of weeds. No, it's death. Obliviation should be forbidden. It's the spell that gets rid of memories. It is a moral nightmare. These people be erasing memories left and right. And how does it work? Do the memories get replaced? So like, does the magic automatically choose what the memory is? But like, what if you're in the middle of something really important and you see magic accidentally? Like, you're proposing to your girl. Such a beautiful, special moment that you've been planning for weeks, maybe months. Now all of your work has culminated into this one instant of bliss. And then a pixie comes and lands on your shoulder. That memory is now going to be replaced by a simulation of magic. That's immoral. And if it does erase your memory, what if you are in the middle of something important? Like, what if I'm putting a Rolex into a safety deposit box? That's gone. I'm 20k down now and I can't find the watch because I don't have any memory of where I put it. Mate, I can't find my smartwatch right now. Do you know how pissed I would be if I couldn't find my Rolex? I mean, I don't have a Rolex, but a man can dream. The next part isn't a nitpick or a complaint I have against the books. This is a personal beef I have with one of my friends. But, you know, this is my YouTube video and he doesn't have one, so this will be my chance to run. Anyone who thinks that Harry Potter could beat Percy Jackson in a fight is absolutely lying to themselves. It's absolutely insane. They're very similar books, 3 youth going on adventures, but the idea that Harry could beat Percy is insane. 1, he has a sword that reappears in his pocket every time it's out of his hand. This makes Harry's favourite spell useless. 2, he has a shield that blocks all other forms of magic, making every other spell useless. It is basically an upgraded version of my riot shield idea. Hell, I genuinely think if you gave me that sword and shield, I would scrap with Harry. I can take him. By that I mean underfed 12-year-old boy, not Daniel Radcliff as he is now, because boy got wedge. Percy has genuinely beaten gods, giants, titans, pretty much all the big hitters in his universe. He is God. He can heal with water, control water like Aquaman, create hurricanes and earthquakes. Harry Potter just ain't winning that fight. He doesn't even have the battle experience. In fact, I challenge anyone to try and prove me wrong. Go to the comments and explain to me how and why Harry wins, and I will explain to you why you're just wrong. And I'm always right. I have spent the last more than a few minutes now, hating on the Harry Potter world. So I just kind of wanted to end on a positive note, because there are definitely positives of the Harry Potter world. There is a reason why it became so famous and so popular and so beloved. And while I do have my problems with it, I can also appreciate a lot of the things that the world brings. Like I said earlier, Quidditch is a super creative idea, and I genuinely think that J.K. Rowling did an amazing job bringing different mythical monsters to make it all feel like a single world. If you really think about it, there are werewolves, sphinxes, Cerberus, dragons, and they all feel like they belong. And I actually think that's really impressive. And the basilisk is a massive improvement. I don't think people actually know what a basilisk is meant to look like, because everyone always thinks they're Harry Potter. They're chickens, okay? They're scary chickens with some dragon-like features, but they are chickens. Anyone who watches Doctor Who will understand. Like, if you remember the episode with Van Gogh, that is a more accurate interpretation of a basilisk. But like, obviously the Harry Potter one is much cooler and much scarier. Part of me is kind of sad that we'll never get to see Harry Potter fight with a giant chicken, like wielding a sword. But I decided to use AI magic to try and reimagine the scene, so I'm gonna put it on the screen now. And you know what? I think I've changed my mind. I think this looks incredible, and I think they should redo the whole movie to make it more lore accurate. Next thing, Dementors. I know that J.K. Rowling suffered from depression and she wanted them to be sort of a representation of that, and you know what? I think she nailed it. They're incredibly creepy, intimidating, and proper scary, especially their first introduction with like the hand and the cold air. And what I really like is that you've never seen anyone beat it. You've seen them hold it at bay with the Patronus charm, but you've never actually seen anyone beat it. And I think as someone who's suffered from depression, it can feel like that at times, where you feel like you're never going to beat it. You just find light in your life that keeps it at bay, find reasons to keep moving forward and find reason to be happy. And I really like that. Not sure I would choose them to be my prison guards, but the concept is amazing. Finally, I think that the reason why Harry Potter is so popular around Christmas time is that the magic world really amplifies the magic of Christmas. Christmas time has always been a magical time, and the old building, the animals, the snow, like the big Christmas dinner, I can see why people love watching it during Christmas. And to be honest, if I was going to watch anything around Christmas time, it'd probably be like this to put me in the mood, apart from The Grinch. And so we've come to the end of our time together. We've had some good times. Do you remember when we poverty shamed the Weasleys? Or when we watched Harry Potter fight a giant chicken with a sword? Or I showed you Daniel Radcliffe dancing burlesque? Good times. I do want to make it clear, I'm not here to judge or hate on what you love. If you love the Harry Potter world, more power to you. There is so much stress and fear in this world that if you found something that makes you happy, more power to you. I just made this video for a bit of fun. If you've made it this long, hope you found the video informative or at least entertaining. If not, why are you still here? But you know what? I respect the hate watching, I suppose. It's like me and Too Hot to Handle. Sometimes you just need to feel the hate flow through you.
I can feel your anger.
That being said, this took way longer to edit and put together than I realized, so please do me a small favor. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. All that tasty algorithm goodness.
Do it! Try
Also, 8 out of 10 dentists agree that liking my video increases hair thickness and prevents baldness. You don't want to end up like Quirrell, do you? With a dark wizard attached to your skull? No, so you better like the video. Also, I was not joking. I will fight anyone in the comment section. I am begging you, bro, to try and prove me wrong.
Come on! Kill me, I'm here! Kill me!
Anyway, I have a lot more to say on the Potter Worlds if anyone's interested, so I could be convinced to do a part 2. I already made notes for it, so I don't even know why I said could be very easily, like a stepsister stuck in a washing machine easily. But I do want to make you work for it a bit. So I put a fill in the blank quiz on the screen. Yes, I did used to work as a teacher, thank you very much. And if anyone gets them all right in the comment section, I'll make a part 2. Or I don't know, if the video gets 1,000 likes, I'll make a part 2. One or the other. That being said, I've already started editing my next video, and it will be about Joe from you. If that's something that you're interested in, keep an eye out. It will be up sooner rather than later. Until then, have a good one, mate. Peace.